You're down to your last dollar. Your back is against the wall. Everyone who said they believed in you has walked away. The critics are laughing. The doubters are celebrating. And right there, in that moment of absolute darkness, you have two choices. Give up or get up. I've been there, standing in the rain outside my apartment, eviction notice in hand, watching everything I owned being moved to the curb. That moment when your stomach turns to ice and your mind screams at you to just quit. But let me tell you something. That moment, that exact moment when everything seems lost, that's not your ending. That's your beginning. Success isn't about never falling down. It's about refusing to stay down. When I was faced with that eviction, I made a promise to myself. I didn't just say, I'll try again. No, I said, it's not over until I win. Those words became my heartbeat, my breath, my reason to push forward when everything else said, stop. Winning isn't an event, it's a decision. It's a decision you make every single morning when you open your eyes. It's a decision you make every time life knocks you down. It's a decision you make when success seems impossible, when the odds are stacked against you, when logic says quit. Winners understand that success is not a sprint. It's a marathon with no finish line. Every time you think you've reached your limit, there's another level waiting for you. Every time you think you've given your all, there's more inside you. The human brain is wired to protect us from pain, from discomfort, from the unknown. It creates these artificial limits, these comfort zones that feel safe. But growth never happens in comfortable. Success never lives in the realm of the comfortable. What time when you pushed past what you thought was possible? Remember that feeling? That surge of energy, that sense of accomplishment? That wasn't luck. That wasn't a coincidence. That was you tapping into your true potential. That was you proving that your limits are self-imposed. I've studied success for decades now, and I've found something fascinating. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't talent, it isn't luck, it isn't even intelligence. The difference is persistence. The absolute unwavering refusal to give up. And when you say it's not over until I win, you're making a declaration to the universe. You're not asking for permission to succeed. You're not hoping for success. You're demanding it. You're claiming it as your birthright. Winning isn't just about crossing finish lines or reaching goals. Winning is about becoming the person capable of achieving those goals. It's about the transformation that happens when you refuse to settle for less than you're capable of. Think about all the times you've given up too soon. Think about all the dreams you've let slip away because they seem too difficult, too distant, too impossible. Now, imagine if you had pushed just a little harder, stayed in the game just a little longer. 98% of people confuse persistence with stubbornness. They think persistence means doing the same thing over and over, hoping for different results. But true persistence is something entirely different. True persistence is intelligent. It's strategic. It's the art of getting up one more time than you fall, but getting up smarter each time. It's looking failure in the eye and saying, thank you for the lesson. Now watch what I do with it. I remember meeting a young entrepreneur who had failed in business 7 times. 7 times. Most people would have given up after the second or third attempt. But this individual did something remarkable. After each failure, they spent time analyzing what went wrong, adjusted their approach, and came back stronger. Today, they're running a multi-million-dollar company. That's not luck, that's intelligent persistence. Breaking down barriers doesn't mean stopping you. They're meant to test you. Every barrier you face is asking one simple question: how badly do you want it? The size of your success will be determined by the size of the barriers you're willing to break through. When water meets a rock, it doesn't stop. It doesn't argue with the rock. It doesn't complain about the rock. It finds a way around, over, or through. Year after year, water can carve through solid rock, creating magnificent canyons. Why? Because water is persistent. It never stops moving forward. That's the kind of persistence I'm talking about. The psychology of winners, because this is where everything changes. Winners have a fundamentally different operating system in their minds. They don't just think differently. They process reality differently. When a winner faces an obstacle, they don't see a wall. They see a challenge. When they face rejection, they don't see an ending, they see feedback. When they face failure, they don't see defeat, they see data. This isn't positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. I've interviewed countless successful people across every field imaginable, and they all share one fascinating trait. They're absolutely convinced that they cannot fail. Not because they're delusional, but because they've redefined failure. To them, failure isn't an event. It's a temporary state. It's not permanent unless you stop. Persistence, not about having superhuman strength or endless motivation. It's about making a decision that no matter what happens, you'll find a way. When you make that decision, truly make it, something extraordinary happens. Your brain starts working differently. Instead of asking, should I keep going? It starts asking, how can I keep going? Instead of looking for reasons to quit, it starts looking for solutions to continue. This is what I call the persistence shift, and it's the foundation of all great achievements. Let me be crystal clear about something. Persistence without purpose is just stubbornness. You need to know why you're persisting. Your why needs to be bigger than your obstacles. It needs to wake you up in the morning and keep you up at night. It needs to pull you forward when everything else is pushing you back. A time when you really wanted something. I mean, really wanted it. Remember how creative you became? Remember how resourceful you were? That's the power of combining persistence with purpose. That's the formula for unstoppable momentum. What separates the winners isn't just their ability to persist. It's their ability to persist intelligently. It's their ability to learn from every setback, adapt their approach, and come back stronger. Because remember this, persistence isn't just about surviving the storm. It's about learning to dance in the rain. The moment I realized that failure wasn't my enemy, it was my educator. You see, we've been taught to fear failure like it's some kind of disease. We run from it, we hide from it, we do everything in our power to avoid it. But what if I told you that's exactly backwards? Every single step you've ever taken in your life started with falling. As a baby, you fell hundreds of times. But here's the beautiful part. You never once thought about giving up walking. You never said, well, I guess walking isn't for me. You kept going because nobody had taught you. Yet that failure was something to fear. The greatest misconception about failure isn't that it hurts. Of course it hurts. The misconception is that failure is the opposite of success. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's not just a part of the journey, it's an essential part of the journey. Every time you fail, you receive a gift. That gift is feedback, pure, unfiltered, honest feedback, the kind of feedback you can't get any other way. When you start seeing failure this way, something magical happens. You stop fearing it and start using it. I remember talking to a sales professional who kept track of every no they received, not to feel bad about them, but because they understood something crucial. Every no brought them closer to a yes. They turned rejection into data. They turned failure into feedback. And guess what? They became the top performer in their company. Did you know that Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination? That Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before successfully inventing the light bulb? That Steve Jobs was publicly fired from the company he founded? These aren't just cute stories to make you feel better. These are master classes in using failure as fuel. When Jobs was asked about being fired from Apple, he said it was the best thing that could have happened to him. Why? Because it freed him to enter one of the most creative periods of his life. What these comeback stories teach us, it's not about how hard you fall. It's about how you use the fall. Every setback carries within it the seeds of an equal or greater comeback. But you have to be willing to plant those seeds. You have to be willing to learn from the fall. I want you to try something right now. Think about your biggest failure, that one that still stings when you think about it. Now, instead of feeling that familiar rush of shame or regret, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. What did this teach me? What skills did this help me develop? How did this prepare me for where I'm going? Failure isn't just an event. It's information. It's not just a fall. It's feedback. And when you start treating it this way, something remarkable happens. You stop being afraid of failing and start being afraid of not learning. Remember this, every great success story is also a story of great failure. The only difference is what they did with those failures. They didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. They didn't let it stop them. They let it teach them. And this brings us to something absolutely crucial, the mindset that turns failures into stepping stones. Because once you understand how to use failure as feedback, you need to develop the mental toughness to keep going, to keep learning, to keep growing. Success isn't a skill, it's a mindset. It's not just about what you can do, it's about who you become in the process. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, one decision at a time, one day at a time. 2 people can face exactly the same situation. One crumbles while the other conquers. The difference, it's not circumstances, it's not luck, it's mindset, it's mental toughness. And here's the beautiful truth, mental toughness can be developed like a muscle. Think about a Navy SEAL going through Hell Week. When their body is screaming to quit, when every fiber of their being wants to ring that bell and walk away, what keeps them going? It's not physical strength. It's mental toughness. They've trained their minds to push past the point where others stop. But let me tell you what mental toughness really is. It's not about never feeling fear, pain, or doubt. It's about feeling all of those things and moving forward anyway. It's about understanding that your comfort zone is your enemy and discomfort is your teacher. I want you to grasp something powerful about self-belief. Your beliefs about yourself are not just thoughts, they're prophecies. They're instructions to your subconscious mind. When you say, I can't, you're not describing your reality. You're creating it. When you say, I can, you're not being optimistic, you're being strategic. What champions do differently? They guard their self-belief like it's the most precious resource they have. Because it is. They understand that doubt is a luxury they can't afford. They know that belief isn't just positive thinking. It's positive knowing. Every morning, champions make a decision. They decide who they're going to be that day. They don't wait to see how they feel. They don't wait for motivation. They decide success isn't something that happens to you. It's something you happen to. This brings us to daily success habits, and this is where the rubber meets the road. Winners aren't born. They're built day by day, habit by habit. Here's what the research shows. 95 of our actions are habitual. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Let me give you the 3 non-negotiable habits that every winner I've studied practices. First, they start their day early and they start it strong. They don't scroll through social media. They don't check emails. They invest the first hour of their day in themselves, in their mind, their body, their spirit. They understand that how you start your day determines how you live your day. Second, they practice what I call deliberate discomfort. Every day, they do something that pushes them outside their comfort zone. It might be small, but it's significant because they understand that comfort is the enemy of growth. The only way to expand your comfort zone is to step out of it. Third, they review and recalibrate every single night. They ask themselves 3 questions. What did I learn today? What did I do well? What can I do better tomorrow? They understand that success leaves clues and they're committed to finding them. But what most people miss about the winner's mindset, it's not just about positive thinking. It's about strategic thinking combined with relentless action. It's about understanding that your thoughts create feelings, feelings drive actions, and actions create results. I want you to try something right now. Think about your biggest goal, that one thing that sets your soul on fire. Now, instead of asking, can I do this? Ask yourself, how can I do this? Feel the difference. The first question stops you. The second question starts you. Remember this, mental toughness isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's about being relentlessly honest with yourself. It's about making promises to yourself and keeping them. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Once you develop a winner's mindset, you need to take massive action. You need to be the architect of your future. Everything in your life right now is a result of choices you've made. Every single thing. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, your career, they're all echoes of past decisions. The moment you truly understand this, everything changes. There's a difference between knowing you're responsible and taking responsibility. Most people know they're responsible, but they live like victims. They blame the economy, their boss, their past, their parents, the weather, anything but themselves. But here's the liberating truth. The same power that got you here can get you anywhere you want to go. I want you to understand something profound about personal responsibility. It's not about blame. It's about power. When you take 100 responsibility for everything in your life, you take 100 of your power back. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more hoping someone else will fix it for you. Every Olympic athlete, every successful entrepreneur, every person who's ever achieved anything significant had the same 24 hours you have. They didn't get extra time. They didn't get special privileges. What they did was take radical responsibility for how they used their time. Decision-making power, because this is where everything changes. Every decision you make or don't make is shaping your destiny. The coffee you chose this morning, the way you responded to that email, the time you went to bed last night, these aren't just choices. They're declarations to the universe about who you are and what you stand for. What champions understand about decision-making? It's not about making perfect decisions. It's about making decisions and making them perfect through your actions. You want to know the worst decision you can make? Not making one at all. Indecision is a decision. It's a decision to let life happen to you instead of for you. I remember working with someone who spent 3 years thinking about starting their own business. 3 years. That's not thinking. That's hiding. When they finally made the decision, really made it, everything changed. Within 6 months, they had their first clients. Why? Because decision means cutting off all other possibility. It means burning the bridges back to average. But let me give you the action steps for change, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where theory becomes practice. This is where wishes become results. Step 1, take a ruthless inventory of where you are right now. No sugarcoating, no excuses, just pure unfiltered truth. Write it down, all of it. Your finances, your health, your relationships, your career. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Step 2, define your non-negotiables. What are you no longer willing to accept in your life? What standards are you setting for yourself starting right now? Write these down too. Put them somewhere. You'll see them every single day. Step 3, create your action plan. Not a wish list, an action plan. Break down your biggest goals into monthly targets, weekly objectives, and daily actions. Success leaves clues, and the biggest clue is this: winners work from plans. Step 4, start before you're ready. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for validation. Start now. Start with what you have. Start where you are, taking control of their destiny. It's not an event. It's a series of moments. It's not about making one big decision. It's about making 1,000 tiny decisions every single day that align with where you want to go. Remember this: your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts and most dominant actions. If you want to know where you're heading, look at what you think about most and what you do most consistently. And this brings us to something crucial: understanding the price of success. Because once you take control of your destiny, you need to be prepared to pay the full price for what you want. Let me tell you something that most motivational speakers won't. Success has a price tag. And here's the truth that might shake you: the price must be paid in full, and it must be paid in advance. There's no payment plan for success. No discount, no shortcuts. Everyone wants to be successful until they see what it actually costs. They want the mansion, but not the mortgage. They want the muscles, but not the morning workouts. They want the success, but not the sacrifice. But here's what champions understand: sacrifice isn't losing something, it's trading up. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else every single time. When you say yes to watching another episode on Netflix, you're saying no to reading that book that could change your life. When you say yes to hitting the snooze button, you're saying no to getting ahead of the competition. I remember meeting a young athlete who told me he wanted to be an Olympic champion. I asked him what he was willing to give up. He looked confused. You see, everyone wants to talk about their dreams. If you want to talk about their sacrifices. But that's where the magic happens, in what you're willing to give up to get what you say you want. Commitment to excellence. This is where most people get it wrong. Excellence isn't an act, it's a habit. It's not something you do occasionally. It's who you become consistently. It's about maintaining your standards even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. What excellence demands? It demands that you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It demands that you do the right thing, not the easy thing. It demands that you keep going when everyone else has gone home. Excellence isn't about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. The long-term perspective, because this is where everything changes. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. They want microwave success in a crock-pot world. Success is like growing a bamboo tree. You plant the seed, water it, fertilize it, and nothing happens for 4 years. Nothing, but you keep watering, keep fertilizing, keep believing. Then in the 5th year, something magical happens. The bamboo grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Question: did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The long-term perspective, it's not about patience. It's about persistence. It's not about waiting. It's about working while you wait. It's about understanding that every day you're either building your dream or someone else's. I want you to grasp something powerful about sacrifice. It's not about giving up something you love. It's about giving up something you love for something you love more. Every champion has made this trade. Every success story includes this chapter. Small, consistent actions compounded over time create extraordinary results. That's how success works. It's not about doing one thing 100% better. It's about doing 100 things 1% better every single day. This is what commitment to excellence really means. It means falling in love with the process, not just the outcome. It means understanding that greatness isn't a destination, it's a direction. It means doing what others won't do today so you can do what others can't do tomorrow. Remember this: the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Every time you choose the easy way, you're choosing to make your life harder in the long run. Every time you choose the hard way, you're choosing to make your life easier in the long run. And this brings us to our final message, because everything we've discussed, the mindset, the responsibility, the sacrifice, it all comes down to this moment, this decision, this commitment to never ever give up until you win. This isn't just about success anymore. This is about legacy. This is about becoming the person you were meant to be. This is about finishing what you started. Right now, in this moment, you stand at a crossroads, not just between success and failure, but between who you are and who you could become. Everything we've talked about, the persistence, the mindset, the sacrifice, it all comes down to this single moment of decision. Look at your hands. These are the hands that will write your story. These are the hands that will build your future. These are the hands that will shape your destiny. The question isn't, can you? The question is, will you? I want you to feel something right now. Feel the weight of your dreams. Feel the pull of your potential. Feel the fire of your future. Because here's the truth that's going to set you free. Everything you want is on the other side of never giving up. Here are your action steps, and I want you to commit to them right now. Number 1, write down your non-negotiable goal. Not what you think you can achieve, what you must achieve. Write it down like it's already happened. Make it so real in your mind that your body starts moving toward it automatically. Number 2, every morning before your feet hit the floor, say these words, "It's not over until I win." Say it until you feel it. Say it until you believe it. Say it until you become it. Number 3, take massive action today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Do something that moves you toward your goal, something that scares you, something that stretches you, because remember, comfort is the enemy of achievement. But let me tell you something crucial. This isn't just about achieving goals anymore. This is about becoming the person you were born to be. This is about living up to your potential. This is about leaving a legacy. Years from now, people will tell stories about this moment. They'll talk about the day you decided enough was enough, the day you decided to stop settling, the day you decided to become unstoppable. Remember this, champions aren't made in the spotlight. They're made in the dark when no one's watching, when the work is hard, when the odds are against them. They're made in moments just like this one. You've got greatness in you. You've got victory in your blood. You've got success in your DNA. Don't you dare give up. Don't you dare settle. Don't you dare let anyone tell you what's possible or impossible for you. Because it's not over. It's not over when you're tired. It's not over when you're scared. It's not over when you're doubting. It's not over when everyone else has given up. It's not over until you say it's over. It's not over until you win. Now get up, get moving, get after it. Your future's waiting. Your destiny is calling. Your time is now. Remember, it's not over.